I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised.
Welcome back to action from virtual Daytona. Sorry about the broadcast going dark there for a few moments. We are back now and ready for the final stage of action here from virtual Daytona. We are officially halfway through this race, 23 laps to go. And it is anybody's guess at who is going to walk away with the win here from Daytona. The field working their way now off of turn number 4 back into the front straightaway here at Daytona. Stephen Thomas is going to lead the field to green, with Keith Bradley, the dominant force all day, right to his outside. Green flag is back out, and we are back racing from Daytona. They'll go 2 by 2 into the corner. Bradley gonna give way to the 23 of Stephen Thomas, put him up to the point for the first time tonight. Thomas is going to lead under green. Can he keep it is the big question. Jordan, you were talking about Stephen Thomas earlier, but a full course caution is called as the wrecking in the back. Joey Doucette's involved, Peacock's involved, and it is a parking lot in turn 2.
Curious to know what exactly happened. Obviously somebody got loose in turn number 1, but you can see a whole bunch of cars completely turned sideways all the way around, as we're going to take a look at the replay as a bunch of cars around. Curious to know what exactly happened. You can see the 81 of Peacock around right there, followed by a few others, as we are awaiting the replay, as that was a pretty big field of cars included in that wreck. You can see how much damage is on that 81 of Peacock.
Trying to grab that replay now. Looked like we couldn't grab it there for a moment. We'll fast forward to it here, as this is from the pace lap, and we'll go all the way back around to the field coming into turn number 1. Looked like it started back towards Taylor Peacock in the 81. And we'll see exactly where this started. Oh, it started with Cinnamon up in front. Peacock got into Doucette, pushed the 16 up the track, but the 86 of Kyle S was already around. Nowhere for anybody to go as he was around in the middle of the track. And that sent a handful of drivers right into him. Here's another look. Oh, Hess just lost it on his own. Cinnamon wasn't even involved in this wreck. Jordan, that is just something that nobody was looking at, because he just spun right in the middle of the track, and that led to, like I said, a parking lot there. Nowhere for a lot of drivers to go.
You know, especially with the tight turn, just like turn number 1, because you can't really see over that guardrail with all the cars completely turned, especially in the middle of the track. So you're completely blindsided when you exit that turn, which could lead you into a very bad spot, like we saw with a few others that were completely turned in that wreck.
Well, Stephen Thomas will keep the lead off of that restart. And Jordan, we talked about Stephen Thomas coming into this as a winner last week in Gateway, trying to be the first driver to go back-to-back in wins this season. But he has that 18 to Keith Bradley breathing down his neck, and he's got to be feeling the pressure because Bradley has been the fastest truck on the track all night long. And as the field's going to get bunched up again, they'll send him back down into turn number 1, 2 by 2. I don't think Keith Bradley's content sitting in second place for much longer, knowing he has the fastest truck on the track right now.
You know, definitely, just if he wants to take home this race victory, and like we're mentioning, he seems pretty comfortable. He can't wait till the last second like we've seen from a few drivers this race. So if he really wants that race win, he's got to be on the bumper of the 23 because, Josh, we know Stephen Thomas in that 23, he's really confident with road courses, and he's really fast when it comes to wanting to fight for the lead.
We'll see if he is going to be able to retake this lead as they'll try and catch up to the official iRacing pace truck. And once again, we do apologize for the broadcast going dark for a while there. Had to fix a technical error we were having on our part here on Racecraft TV. Do have it resolved now, and we can bring you coverage all the way to the checkered flag tonight here from Daytona. I'm glad all of you could join us from the world center of racing, the Cathedral of Speed. That is the Daytona International Speedway. The field looking to catch up to the pace truck as we remain under a full course caution. And the field will bunch back up together, and we will look for that green flag in a couple of laps time. But as we currently sit still here under this caution flag, Brady LaBeouf is going to come into the pit lane. A bit interesting from that number 9 machine. And Chris Cinnamon's also going to come into the pit lane. Possible for damage, Jordan, but the 3 car looks fairly clean, and so does the 9 and Brady LaBeouf. Looks like you just want some good, fresh Goodyear tires.
You know, that's definitely going to help, especially here at the Daytona road course. You want the best sort of tire you can get here, especially on a road course, because you just want to keep your truck so tight to those turns to where you feel comfortable being able to get on that throttle without that car completely turning on you. And so a nice fresh set of Goodyear tires tonight would be a great option for the rest of these drivers to come down pit lane and set them on their machines.
A couple of drivers electing to do that. Kyle Hess is in. Of course, he has damage. Devin Painter, I believe he got a bit of damage from that incident. He's now out in his Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford F-150. A handful of other drivers electing to come in. Hess still fixing damage. Robbie Richards fixing damage. And you can see 4 cars there all looking to fix damage here as we get ready to go back to racing. But Stephen Thomas out in front. 20 laps to go here from virtual Daytona. Stephen Thomas running on the bottom line here in the pace lap is... He'll be starting on that inside when we go back to racing. And Jordan, that inside line can have an advantage there for turn number 1 because it is a left-hander. We begin the infield section of this road course with that left-hander into the middle portion of the racetrack. That inside line could prove to be a bit of an advantage for the 23 of Stephen Thomas, but Keith Bradley looked like on that initial start here in stage number 3, sort of laid back a little bit, kind of let the 23 go by. He wasn't really feeling rivaling him into that corner, so it looks like turn number 1, we've seen 2 wrecks already there. It's the danger spot of this racetrack, but it could mean between a win and a loss for these drivers because that is an overtaking opportunity, especially on a restart.
You know, definitely, and what I'm thinking the 18 is just doing is feeling out how the 23 wants to race this track, and he's still got a lot of time to go. He's still got 20 laps to go, coming down to 19, but I'm pretty sure he's just sitting back, really trying to find out what Stephen Thomas's weak spots are and where he struggles to hopefully make a pass and regain that lead here in our next restart.
You can see the finishes from Keith Bradley, Michigan, Bristol Dirt, and Darlington did not compete 1 week ago from Virtual Gateway. And Bradley with a great start to the season, albeit all things considered, no top 10s in the last 3 races, looking for one here. And we've seen Jordan Keith Bradley just get into bouts of bad luck. He's been very consistent. We saw speed from him at Darlington. We saw speed from him at every single track we've been to on this calendar so far. Just he's run into bad luck in these races, and that's something that you really can't shake. Looks like he's shaking a bit of it tonight. Hopefully I'm not cursing him, but a great run so far tonight from Keith Bradley, and I'm expecting him to keep it up in these last 18 laps.
You know, definitely he's been really consistent this whole entire night, and I'm pretty sure, just sticking up in that top sort of the pack. He feels probably safer because a bunch of the wrecks have been happening behind. Yes, we've had one happen in the front pack with P1 and P2, but he just seems like he's got so much momentum coming off those stage 1 and 2 wins that he's so comfortable right now, as he's sitting in top in P number 2, as he's just feeling so comfortable to a point where hopefully the bad luck doesn't get to him tonight.
Well, field working through the International Horseshoe, under pacing. We'll get ready to go back to green here in stage number 3. And Jordan, another driver to talk about, Dustin Scruggs here in the 11. Back up to P3. We saw him get involved in a restart incident in stage number 2. That damage to the front end of that truck is still there, but he's back up into P3. This is going to prove to be a challenge now for Dustin Scruggs. If he does indeed have some temperature issues with that front end damage, this could spell trouble for the 11, but if not, he's been also one of the fastest trucks of the day, looking for a good finish up at the front.
He had a great bounce back from that wreck like you were talking about, Josh, and just hopefully none of those aerodynamic or damage gets to that truck, because usually it's pretty hard to catch up and make passes on road courses, but he's making it look so easy tonight that, Josh, I'm going to say this, I didn't even know that he was coming back up to the top, because it just seems so hard to make passes on road courses, but he's making it look easy out there on the track tonight.
Notable names also here in the top 5. Logan Quinn in the 44. A great run for him so far tonight. He started in 8th, so a good start and looking to have a good end as well. And Jacob Klinkart in the 42, talk about him. He was spinning around a ton in the first 2 stages. You can still see a bit of damage to that machine, but he's now up running inside of the top 5. Ready to go back to racing here from Virtual Daytona. It's Stephen Thomas leading the way. Keith Bradley to his outside. Dustin Scruggs, Logan Quinn, Jacob Klinkart, the top 5. And Steve Williams on the inside of that 3rd row as well, as we will look to go back to racing. We're glad you can join us here on Racecraft TV, and once again, we apologize for those technical errors, but we're now going to take you inside of these race cars for Racecraft TV Sounds of Speed as we go back to racing from Daytona. able to keep that lead at the front of the field. Not gonna let anybody take it over just yet. But as they work their way back into the infield section once again, you can see that gap continuing to spread out in between the top two. Battle actually working their way through the tri-oval. Devin Painter, Robbie Richards battling. Oh, one car gonna go way off. That's the 9 of Brady LaBeouf. He's gonna lose a handful of positions, falls from 10th to 12th. As up front, top 5, Steve Williams able to get around Logan Quinn. Look at Jacob Klinkart now, Jordan, joining this fray as they work their way through the left-hander, the dog leg into turn number 4.
You know, we're seeing these drivers get a little bit more aggressive to try and make up some ground to get higher up into that leaderboard, and so you can see exactly how Klinkart's doing it, but he gets into the grass as the 42, I believe, gets on by. And, you know, Josh, getting into the grass here makes you lose so many spots. You can see how many cars go around him. You can see the 3 of Chris Cinnamon go on by. And, you know, getting into the grass definitely does not help you one bit, especially on a road course and especially when you're racing this hard to at least keep your spot.
Steve Williams now going to battle with Logan Quinn, make it a 2-car battle instead of 3 as they run off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. How is this going to get as they race into the bus stop? Williams going to hold on to the spot. Quinn going to have to settle for 5th. And as they exit the bus stop now, that 24 going to stay in P4 on the racetrack for the moment. Steve Williams, you can see that damage to the back end of his race truck. Relatively good start to the season, a 4th and a 5th place Bristol Dirt and Gateway, and he's going to go wide now. He's going to miss that corner. He will have to give that time back, and Logan Quinn is going to go right on by in the number 44. Put Quinn now back up into 4th place on the racetrack. Battle between Dana Shepard, Chris Cinnamon. Cinnamon goes to the inside, and he's going to take that spot over as they work their way into turn number 6. Devin Painter also going to get by Jacob Klinkart. Looked like the number 42 might have some more issues out there on the track. You can see that truck heavily damaged to that right side. Oh, and going wide is Dana Shepard. Now that's going to move him down into P9. Brady LaBeouf now to the back bumper as they fight for 9th. Back into the dog leg they go. Everybody starting to tighten up here mid-pack. As it looks like, Jordan, mistake after mistake for a lot of these drivers. They are going to need to clean it up if they want to gain some spots, because now is going to be the most crucial time with them spacing out. Not really expecting a full course caution. It could still happen, but it's definitely not in the minds of these drivers at the moment. So they need to try and gain spots under a green racetrack. Now's the perfect time to do so as Klinkart spins it off of the banking.
And, you know, definitely that's not what he wanted in 42 machine, because he seems like he's got so much damage, Josh, as that truck is holding on by at least 1 straw. And so you can just see it's heavily damaged throughout the front, the left side, the back side, the right side. We're going to take a look at a replay on what exactly happened. You can see he goes through the turn, and he just seems to get a little loose coming on the bank. And yes, he does. Not too sure how that can happen unless the tires are getting a little used up a little too much, but he seems to turn it all the way around in that banking of turn number 1.
And Jordan, I think we also got to talk about how that corner is, of course, off camber because it's going up onto the banking. Possibly got a little bit too much on the gas, and that led to the spin off of that Speedway turn 1 corner for the number 42 machine. For the back battling, the number 9 of Brady LaBeouf trying to go by Dana Shepard in the 43, and he does so successfully. LaBeouf now back up into 8th. Devin Painter in the 64 trying to catch up to the 3 of Chris Cinnamon. Cinnamon currently running in P5, trying to hold off the 2 trucks battling behind him. And they go into turn number 4, infield section of this road course. 15 laps to go. So Jordan, that's not a ton of time, but you compare that to the time in our first 2 stages. Stage 1 being 8 laps with the full course caution, ended up only being about 5 laps. Stage number 2, relatively the same, only being about 7 laps. So this is a longer stage than what we've seen in the first 2, meaning we could see a bit more struggles from these drivers out here on the track.
You know, definitely, because those tires are just going to keep on getting used up lap by lap. And so I'm pretty sure that, Josh, this is, well, not pretty sure, this is their longest run as of right now, because like you mentioned, those few cautions we had in the start. And so these drivers are really going to have to get used to how they're operating their trucks, and they've really got to be careful on how they're entering their corners, exiting their corners, because these trucks seems like they're slowly starting to get worse and worse lap by lap, because they just keep turning, entering and exiting all those corners.
Everybody's starting to space out here on the racetrack. We'll keep you updated with the battles as we see them, as we continue to look at the 3 of Chris Cinnamon. There's the number 64 of Devin Painter. We also do apologize, lack of overlay here in stage number 3. Some more technical errors popping up here on our side, but we will continue to bring you live coverage here from virtual Daytona all the way to the checkered flag of tonight's race. Still in the lead, it is Keith Bradley out at the front of this field. Second place, Stephen Thomas, Dustin Scruggs, Logan Quinn, Chris Cinnamon, your current top 5 out here on the track, as everybody starts to space themselves out. 14 laps to go. Like I mentioned, everybody's starting to space themselves out as we get settled into a long run here from the Daytona road course. Closest battle looks to be this battle between Logan Quinn and Chris Cinnamon. Not too much time separating these 2 drivers as they enter onto the back straightaway. There you can see them running relatively close together. Gap roughly about 1 second, and Quinn's gonna drift it into the bus stop. That was a huge spin from the 44, Jordan. That's going to lose him a ton of time out here on the track. Already losing a handful of spots. He might lose one to Dana Shepard now as he cuts the course again.
You know, very interesting move for the 44 machine, as he seemed to just try and throw it in there, Josh. Not too sure what he was really thinking, as it completely threw him into the grass. And like you said, he's losing a lot of spots just for that. And it just shows you how consistent you have to be in order to keep a spot, because there's a lot of cars behind you waiting for you to mess up and overtake you.
Keith Bradley still leads as he runs his way through the International Horseshoe. There's Stephen Thomas in the 23. And Jordan, we talked about Stephen Thomas being one of the trucks that was a threat coming into tonight's race. Nothing for Keith Bradley at the moment. The gap just grew by about 2 seconds when they came across the line. He came into this race, like you said, confident, but I don't think he was expecting the speed from the 18 tonight, because the 18 is miles ahead of the 23 at this point.
And, you know, definitely we've seen off of restarts, and just the 18 is so quick. He pulls away from the 23 so quick, so I'm not too sure what the 23 is doing wrong here, but he's got a lot of time to fill, and he's only got 13 to go. So if he wants to make something up, he's got to make it happen sooner than later, because if he just waits it out and stays back there, which I know he's trying not to do, he's trying to make up ground, but he's going to slowly run out of time, Josh, where it's just going to be a race over for him, and he's going to have to sit in second for the rest of the night.
13 laps to go here from virtual Daytona. Still sitting in second place, it is Stephen Thomas. We go back to third place, Dustin Scruggs, looking for his second win of the season. Currently fighting from third. Chris Cinnamon fights from fourth, as Devin Painter continues to run in fifth. It's a curious case when it comes to Devin Painter, Jordan, because we saw speed from the 64 at Darlington. We saw a bit of speed from him at Gateway as well, but since then, Devin Painter has had some bad luck towards the end, specifically of each of these races. He had the bad luck in the beginning, currently running consistent there in 5th, but we know Devin Painter wants to get back up to the front and wants to get that first victory of the season, and he's been so close, just not close enough, as we see a truck spun around at the exit of this road course section. Not a front runner, so it's not going to come in handy, but back to Devin Painter, Jordan, just looking for that first win. It's going to be tough, but he's shown some speed.
You know, definitely, and it's a lot to put on a driver, because when you get so close, especially what he did at Darlington, he won stage 1, he won stage 2, but I believe he came a little short for stage number 3 to take home the race win. It's just so frustrating for these drivers how they do so, like, they keep consistency high for the most part of the race, but then they seem just to fall off, which frustrates them so hard. You can see that left side damage on that 64 machine as he's made contact with a lot of people this race we've seen. And so, like you're mentioning, he's got a lot of bad luck, as we hope to see him bounce back from it and hopefully come out with a win sooner than later.
With 12 to go, 23 seconds the gap at the line. We'll see if he's able to do that. And into turn number 3 on the speedway goes Keith Bradley. 11 to go when he comes across the start-finish line this time by. But as he enters into the NASCAR chicane once again, we'll look a little bit further back as everybody on this racetrack has really spaced themselves out. One person I do want to talk about, Steve Williams in the 24. A great night for Steve Williams in that Ford F-150. And talking about him, Jordan, another one of those drivers, bad luck has kind of proned him. Definitely has not had the season start that he wanted, but looking at a good finish here in the top 10 of 6 here at Daytona.
You know, definitely a very consistent night for him, and he's just got to keep it up for the next 11 laps to go here at Daytona, because it's going to help him with some nice points coming out of this week and going into our next race. It's just going to give him some confidence to hopefully go hard for the next one and hopefully get higher.
Looking for more results is the number 24 of Steve Williams, definitely out here on the track. Close battle back here for P number 8, Dana Shepard versus Logan Quinn. Let's see how the number 44 is going to fare in a battle with Dana Shepard. Shepard going to close the door. Quinn going to get a hard on those brakes, almost locking him up as they enter the International Horseshoe. Down the straightaway in the infield, into the dog leg. Shepard able to run away a little bit from Logan Quinn in the number 44 as they enter back into turn number 4. They'll go back to the speedway. Let's see if Quinn's going to be able to use any of the speed in that race truck on the straightaways to gain that time back on the number 43. Dana Shepard, also one of those drivers, Jordan, bad luck has proned him in the beginning of this season. The same for Logan Quinn, but Logan Quinn has been quick. Only a handful of mistakes has put him back here in P number 9. He has the speed to get by the 43, and I think he knows that. He just needs to try and make this pass happen down the back straightaway.
You know, definitely, and it's very hard to pass people on road courses, because when you try and go for a pass...
Keith Bradley's in pit road. Sorry to cut you off, Jordan, but the leader is in for a stop here in the final stage. Not sure if this is scheduled or if it is unscheduled for the number 18, excuse me, of Keith Bradley. But sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
Like I was saying, but when you try and pass somebody on, especially a road course, it's very hard, because you can get caught up with a turn coming so quickly to a point where you mess yourself up. So you sort of just got to sit there for a second and really analyze where the turn is, when's it coming, and hopefully make for a safe pass if you do plan on doing so.
10 laps to go now from virtual Daytona. Stephen Thomas is going to assume the lead for the moment. After Keith Bradley comes into the pit lane, he's going to exit right behind the number 24 of Steve Williams. So that'll put him in 6th currently on the racetrack. And we'll see how quickly under green the 18 of Bradley is going to be able to cut his way through the field, if he is going to be able to at all. But as they work their way now into turn number 4, Bradley going to be stuck behind the 24 of Steve Williams, and Steve Williams is going to go a bit wide. Here comes Bradley to the inside. Now, Jordan, since Keith Bradley's not leading anymore, he's not going to have the luxury of these drivers letting him by. They might know he's faster, but now he's racing them for position on this racetrack. These drivers don't want to give them an inch, but Bradley able to muscle his way around Steve Williams, put him up into P5 now.
And you know, he's making it look so easy as he passed so quickly, as he's slowly trying to make his way back up to that lead, but he's got to fight a lot of these drivers to get it. And especially, he's got that 23 of Stephen Thomas now with a pretty big gap to him, and so he's got a lot of room to fight if he wants to make it back up into that lead with 10 to go.
So Bradley now catching up to Joey Doucette. He is a lapped machine in the number 16. As he went by Steve Williams, his next truck on the track that he is fighting is Devin Painter here in the number 64. Who's making his way through the NASCAR chicane. 9 to go now as Stephen Thomas continues to lead. Nobody else electing to pit on that last lap. Looks like Keith Bradley, the lone driver in the pit lane so far here in the stage, as nobody else has elected to pit. Dustin Scruggs now going to have a mirror full of Dana Shepard. It looks like these drivers battling for P7, but Logan Quinn and Dana Shepard back into this fight with the two of these trucks as they battle for P number 8. But Jordan, it's got to be stressful for Keith Bradley now to be running in P4. He was able to get by Brady LaBeouf, but running in P4 knowing that he has the fastest truck on the track. At the line, it was a 15-second gap. I think he might be able to close in all of that time before the checkered flag, but if he is the lone pit stop in this stage, that has got to be stressful because he's got to be wondering if he's going to catch up to those leaders at all.
You know, definitely, and so he's got a good set of fresh tires on that 18 machine, but he's just got to really hope for that he's fast enough to make up that time, because it says 9 to go. It's a lot of time, but it isn't at the same time, Josh. It's just about how consistent he is and how well he's making his braking zones, because if he messes those up, he might mess his whole self up, which could ruin his whole entire race here at Daytona Road Course.
And Bradley going to work his way through the bus stop, and they can see Devin Painter only right up the road, and we go on board with the number 64 of Painter, trying to stay in front at all costs. And he currently is running in P number 3. Bradley's in 4th. As they work their way through the NASCAR chicane, still no takers into the pit lane. Stephen Thomas now takes 8 laps to go. That number 23 looking for 2 wins in a row if he doesn't need to come into the pit lane. Chris Cinnamon goes a little bit wide off the exit of that first corner, but keeps the truck on the track. Devin Painter, Keith Bradley becoming the next fight on the track. Jordan, Devin Painter going to need to defend. Is he even going to attempt to defend? He knows Keith Bradley's faster. The 97 of Jose Luis Rivera goes around in the background, but the 94 of Devin Painter knows the 18 of Keith Bradley is faster. How willing is he to race him? Is he going to just let him by here?
You know, we know how fast Devin Painter can be at times, and so, Josh, I'm really thinking he's going to try and fight to keep the 18 of Keith Bradley behind, but the 18 just seems so fast and he's sticking to that lower line. I really think those tires are going to help the 18 in this situation, fighting the 64.
Here comes Keith Bradley to the back bumper of the 64 of Devin Painter. Painter's not going to make it too stressful for Bradley. He leaves a lane open on the bottom. The 18 with momentum through the banking of Daytona, and up into P3 goes the 18 of Keith Bradley, now within 10 seconds of the race leader, Stephen Thomas. You can see they are within the same straightaway both of them in the bus stop at the same time. Jordan, that 23 has to be starting to hear Jaws music, because the 18 of Keith Bradley, the dominant truck all day, is starting to catch up.
You know, definitely, and within one lap, we were talking about him. He was about in like 5th or 4th, Josh, and we were talking, is he going to make up that ground? And you can see he is slowly making his way up to fighting the 23 of Stephen Thomas. So within a lap, Josh, I feel like they're going to be bumper to bumper, as the 18 is going to try and dive it down to the bottom to make a pass on the 3 of Chris Cinnamon, and he does. And here he comes for the 23 of Stephen Thomas.
You saw that pass off the back of the number 23 of Stephen Thomas. There is Keith Bradley. We go on board with him as he chases him down. 7 laps to go. 7 laps for Keith Bradley to chase back down to the race leader out in front, the 23 of Stephen Thomas. Can he do it? He is getting dangerously close to striking distance. And Jordan, we talked about if Keith Bradley might have been having second thoughts about that pit stop, might have been wondering if he can't catch the leaders at all. He is now going to be within striking distance in the next lap to try and get around Stephen Thomas. That is how quick the 18 truck is around this track tonight.
And I really feel like those fresh Goodyear tires are going to help him, but you can see the 23 of Thomas gets loose, which is going to open a door for the 18 to catch up. As Josh, they are so close together right now within these last 2 laps. We were talking about the 18 from 5th. Now he's in 2nd with only a few tenths of a gap to be the new leader. As you can see, he's got to run as he's going to try and make a pass on the 23, and he does. What a comeback for the 18 of Keith Bradley.
Bradley up into the lead once again. It'll take 6 to go at the line. And what a race this has turned into for the number 18. Pitting under this stage, being the only truck to do so, and now is sitting at the front of the field. What a night for the 18 of Bradley. He'll take 6 to go at the line this time by, and is looking to have a storybook night and get his first win of the season here from virtual Daytona. They'll come across the start-finish line. They'll take that 6 to go. And now extending that lead over Stephen Thomas as well. 2.35 seconds at the line. What can Chris Cinnamon do now? He's now going to be within striking distance of the 23 of Stephen Thomas. Can he make a pass now for P2? Jordan, we saw Cinnamon have speed at Gateway. This is 2 races in a row with speed for Chris Cinnamon. Looks like that 3 machine's starting to wake up through the middle portion of this season.
And you can see, as you were talking about it, he gets around and cannot save it, as that's the one thing about these trucks, especially on a road course. You save it one time, but the truck can completely hook the other way. Did not work in the favor of the 3 of Chris Cinnamon, as it's going to put him down a spot, as he's going to try and fight back for that position. And I believe that was the 64 of Devin Painter who passed him, Josh. And so a very frustrating part of the race for the 3 of Chris Cinnamon.
That was the 64 of Devin Painter that went around, so that'll move Cinnamon down to P4 on the racetrack. Brady LaBeouf now working his way through the International Horseshoe. He's still fighting towards the back as one car goes around. That looked to be Cody Knott that went around. Yes, it was the 26 of Cody Knott around in the International Horseshoe. He'll get back going. Or around in turn number 4, excuse me. He'll get back going onto the racetrack. Big gap in between Painter and LaBeouf for the moment. As you can see, LaBeouf working his way through turns 1 and 2 on the speedway. And Painter working his way through the bus stop on the back straight. Gaps throughout the field starting to grow and grow and grow. But it's all Keith Bradley up at the front. 5 to go when he comes across the start-finish line this time by. We'll step aside really quickly here on Racecraft TV. We'll take you side by side so you won't miss a minute of the action here from virtual Daytona. It's 5 to go. Keith Bradley leads the way. welcome back to the virtual Daytona International Speedway road course. You're tuning into live coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway on Racecraft TV. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth alongside Jordan Hicks, and once again, we would like to apologize for all the technical issues we are having tonight, completely out of our control, and we apologize for everything happening tonight, stream being in 2 parts and lack of overlays on here as well, but we are making lemonade out of the lemons that we have and still bringing you live coverage all the way to the end of tonight's race from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. And Jordan, we saw some pretty good racing. Obviously, the field now spreading out to an 11-second gap in between your race leader Keith Bradley and second place Stephen Thomas, and closest gap on the racetrack I believe is somewhere around 3 seconds. So the field has spaced their way out, but we did see some great racing off of those restarts and a dominant night from Keith Bradley. 3 to go at the line. It's not over yet, but just a great night from Keith Bradley in the 18.
You know, definitely we saw him drop all the way back down to, I believe, 5th, because he took that pit and he got some fresh Goodyear tires on that 18 machine, and here he is up at the top of the pack. He had a pretty solid fight for the first 2-3 laps as he messes up on the chicane right there, which he's going to have to give that time back, which is going to suck and open up a little bit of the door for the 23 of Stephen Thomas. But Josh, I don't believe it's enough, as yes, we have 4 to go, 3 to go now at the line, but I just don't think the door's open that much for the 23 of Stephen Thomas to catch up to the 18 machine.
He's going to need a huge mistake from the 18 of Keith Bradley if he wants to get up here and have a run for that win. It's possible, but we have not seen a mistake all night from the 18. It has been perfect racing from Keith Bradley all night long, and he is looking to push it all the way to the finish. Devin Painter now running in second as Stephen Thomas comes into the pit lane. Now that gets me wondering, Jordan, with Stephen Thomas pitting now, how many other drivers need to come into the pit lane? Does Devin Painter now need to pit under this stage for fuel? We already saw Keith Bradley pit. Ultimately, even if he wasn't the fastest truck on the racetrack, now it looks like each of these trucks are going to need to make at least one more stop in these next 3 laps, except for Keith Bradley. That being the fastest truck on the track didn't really matter. He would be in the lead with everybody pitting under this stage regardless.
You know, definitely, and it's just going to put more time on that gap between both the 18 and the 23, so it's just going to make that gap bigger and bigger, which I don't think these drivers have that much time, which if they wanted to pit, they should have done it, in my personal opinion, a few laps to go, so they had some time left. Yes, there's 3 to go. It's a little bit of time, but I don't think it's enough. If they want to keep their position they have right now, I think it's a little too late if they're going to pit.
It is too little too late, but if they need to pit for fuel, they are going to need to do it. And it looks like Stephen Thomas's pit stop time was only about 3 seconds, so that's exactly what he did. He pitted for a splash of fuel only to get him to the end of the race. Didn't lose too many spots, but Cinnamon got by. LaBeouf able to stay behind, so Stephen Thomas only losing 1 spot, or 2 spots rather, down into P4. But as Bradley comes across the start-finish line, 2 laps to go. Devin Painter, is he going to pit? No, he does not. He stays out on the racetrack in P2. What about Chris Cinnamon in the 3? He's going to stay out from P3. So now, the top 3 will remain unchanged. Stephen Thomas stays on the racetrack, and Dustin Scruggs now is going to be in P number 6. And we talked about Dustin Scruggs a little bit earlier on, Jordan, and good recovery for P6, but we know the 11 car wanted some better results tonight because he did have a fast race truck towards stage number 2.
You know, definitely, but it just seems like it wasn't his night here at the Daytona Road Course. Yes, he's in the top 10, so a pretty solid finish for that 11 machine, but we saw him last week, Josh. It's a big difference because he had such an amazing week last week, and, you know, road course isn't everybody's favorite and everyone's favorite sort of racetrack, and so you can see it from the 11. We had a lot of wrecks throughout this whole race, so if you're in that top 10, if it was me, I would be pretty happy with it, just to say I got through it, but The 11, he's got a little bit of damage on that front nose, which I think affected him a little bit throughout this race. Yes, he's still a fast race truck, but not enough to keep him within that top 5.
So Scruggs runs from 6th, then Keith Bradley off of the bus stop. Not much else we can say about Keith Bradley tonight. What a dominating performance. He'll come onto the front straightaway through the final chicane, take that white flag, and it'll be 1 lap to go here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series from the Daytona Road Course. The 18 will see that white flag from Barney and the Flagman, and Jordan, a dominating performance, is going to reach its finale on this final lap. Assuming Bradley doesn't make any mistakes, of course, but what a night for the 18.
You know, definitely, he's got a huge gap between him and second place, so just a nice, laid back, 1 more lap to go here at the Daytona Road Course. And Josh, the 18 machine, dominated here tonight. He won stage 1 and he won stage 2, and he's going to walk away with the race win here at Daytona Road Course.
Bradley will make his way through the dog leg. In second place, Devin Painter, now just making his way into the International Horseshoe. Absolutely nothing for Keith Bradley all night long from anybody in this field. Closest battle on the racetrack, a little bit close between LaBeouf and Scruggs as they go battling into the International Horseshoe. Let's see if this will become any battle, and LaBeouf is going to lock it up going into the International Horseshoe. They'll be side by side as they exit the corner. LaBeouf side by side with Scruggs. He's going to keep that spot as they work their way into turn number 4. LaBeouf able to hold on to P5 on the racetrack, not letting Scruggs by, but it's going to be close as Scruggs now goes to the back bumper. Going to look for that spot. But as he brings his way through the bus stop into turn number 3 of the Speedway, he's looking for his first race win of the season. Off of Speedway 4 into the final chicane on the road course. And after multiple rounds of bad luck, Keith Bradley can say hello to victory lane. The 18 is going to win at the World Center of Racing. Bradley is victorious on the road course. What a night for the 18 of Keith Bradley to take home a dominating race win from Virtual Daytona. Devin Painter is going to be good enough for second place. Chris Cinnamon is going to come home in third, with Stephen Thomas now working his way through the final chicane, and Dustin Scruggs is going to completely overshoot it. Almost slams into LaBeouf, and he's going to give that spot back. But what a wreck there. I can't really say wreck, Jordan. He didn't hit anything, but he just went right into that corner full speed. Luckily didn't hit into Brady LaBeouf, but definitely a mistake on that braking zone from the 11.
You know, definitely it really looked like he just tried to throw it in there and hope for the best, and luckily, like you said, he didn't hit anybody, but it sure did mess him up. But a great finish here tonight for a lot of these drivers, and especially to the 18 of Keith Bradley.
Kyle Hess will come across the line, Logan Quinn, and more. Kyle Hess out of fuel coming to the line, so that's how close it was, Jordan. We were wondering how close it would be. Kyle Hess in the number 86, who was on a stint of, looks to me like more than that stage. It was going to be close, so Bradley definitely making the right call out there on the track when it came to that pit stop. But as the field continues to work their way across the line, we can give you full race results here from Virtual Daytona. Taking the win, it's Keith Bradley in the 18. It's Devin Painter coming home second. Chris Cinnamon in third. Stephen Thomas fourth, with Brady LaBeouf rounding out your top 5. Dustin Scruggs in 6th. Steve Williams in 7th. Kyle Hess 8th. Logan Quinn 9th, with Dana Shepard rounding out your top 10. Jacob Klinkart in 11th, with Raul Meza in 12th. Clint Mata 13th. Jeffrey Sickles 14th, Joey Doucette rounding out that top 15 with Brandon Bullock, Jose Luis Rivera, Blake Lothian, Robbie Richards, Cody Knott, and Jesse Schrage rounding out your top 20, and rounding out all the drivers who started this race, Bill Lester, Taylor Peacock, Eric Zimmerman, making the 24 drivers who started the night here from virtual Daytona. And as we wait for your race winner, Keith Bradley, we're going to go 3, 2, 1 tonight here in the post-race show. We have Chris Cinnamon joining us here in the booth. Chris, a third-place finish from you tonight. Obviously, after a good performance at Gateway 1 week ago, another good performance back-to-back is going to be good for that team. Congratulations on that third place, but can't help but wondering if you wanted some more out there on the track today.
Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. You know what? I'm happy with third. I wasn't good in practice at all here, and I think with a little fuel strategy, we lucked out and got a third place finish out.
And you talk about lucking out with that third place. How difficult was it out there on the track? Because it looked like a very tough race course to navigate, and a lot of mistakes being made from a lot of different drivers were sending them off the racetrack and down the timing sheet.
Oh, 100%. I did it myself. I spun out there late in the race, and I think almost everyone else did something similar. It's just tough. It's a tough track. It's tight, and not a lot of room for error.
And now working our way closer to the playoffs, we will be exiting the World Center of Racing here at Daytona and get ready to go racing at Pocono. Can't think of a more striking difference in between two tracks than the tricky triangle Pocono and the tough road course of the Daytona International Speedway. How confident are you going into that race that you can walk away with another consistent finish and keep it up for the 3-car?
Oh, I'm a lot more confident going into Pocono than I was coming into this race for sure. I like that track, and should be some good racing next week.
Well, congratulations on your third place finish here from Daytona. Chris, anybody else you would like to thank here on Racecraft TV?
No, I'll just shout out to my team, Limitless Esports there. A couple of guys been away with family issues, but can't wait for them to come back, and looking forward to it in the future.
Thank you very much for joining us here in the booth, Chris, and congratulations on that third place.
You too. Take care.
That was Chris Cinnamon, third place finish. We'll help over to P2, Devin Painter in the 64. Devin, it was a bit of an up and down race for you, but ultimately ended up in second. Talk about the hard moments and the attrition you had to deal with there, because it looked like it was a very tough race across the field, especially for you in the 64.
Yeah, it was. It started out okay, and then I made a mistake in the second stage and put it in the tire barrier. Luckily, it didn't do too much damage, but I still had to start in the back. Stayed patient and just tried to stay out of trouble. And towards the end there, I had an opportunity to pit after the last yellow to put me within my fuel window, and luckily that put me in position to get runner-up.
That definitely looked like it helped. And working your way through that race, how difficult was it to really make passes under green? Because we saw the field really spread out, that it became a battle in pit road of, if you can get that pit stop right, gain spots. That is the spots you're going to gain on the racetrack. So it looked like under green, it was very difficult to make up any time on the opponents around you.
Yeah, it was a real tough track to pass on. So I'm just real fortunate that at the end there I was able to put myself in the fuel window, and like you said, pit road, I was able to just pass a lot of cars by doing one less stop.
We work our way to Pocono in 1 week's time. How confident are you that you can get that first win of the season next week?
It'd be nice. It's not a particular favorite track of mine, but I mean it's okay. But I mean, who knows? We'll just see how it unloads, and we'll just see what happens. But we've had speed all year, so hopefully things stay the same.
Congratulations on your second place here from Daytona, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, actually, from virtual Pocono.
All right, thank you.
Good to hear from Devin Painter, second place finisher here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And we are now going to grab your race winner here from Daytona. Keith Bradley, driver number 18, now joining us up here in the booth. Keith, it was a dominant performance from you. Where did all of that speed come from here tonight? Because it's been an up and down season for you, pretty hit or miss, but then you come into the Daytona road course and completely dominate the entire night. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm not not really sure. We did some practice last night or the other night, and I'm not too comfortable on road courses, and obviously it didn't show tonight. I ran pretty good. But we did some practice the other night, and I hit on something, and then went out and turned, I think, 3 laps in practice and found it and was like, all right, I'm shutting it down, save it for qualifying in the race.
And just that you did, because even with that pit stop, it looked like that pit strategy kind of caught you off guard. You had to pit in the middle of stage number 3. You went all the way back in, stayed in the top 5, went back to 5th, and then just rallied your way back right through the field and right back to the front. Were you worried about that pit strategy, having a pit in the middle of the stage, that maybe you weren't going to be able to catch up in time?
Yeah, I was worried about it. I'd say the last half of that stage there before I pitted, and I asked Robbie, I was like, Robbie, what do you think? Since you're my teammate, what would you do? I know I'm going to have to pit, just when should I pit? And he gave me some insight, and I came in, and I think at one point Stephen Thomas was like 14 seconds ahead. I was like, it's over with. And I came out and started turning some of the fastest laps of the night. And was like, okay, we might have something now, and it felt good catching everybody.
We make our way to Pocono in 1 week's time. Can you make it 2 wins in a row? Be the first driver to go back-to-back this season.
I don't know. We'll see. I hope. I'm okay there. Just put in some work, and we'll be good.
Keith, congratulations on your win from Virtual Daytona. Go celebrate it.
Thank you, guys.
Good to hear from race winner Keith Bradley. And Jordan, as we wrap up the post-race show, we are going to the Tricky Triangle Pocono in 2 weeks' time on September the 10th. It is going to be an intense race, to say the least, but I think it's going to really see who's the best on high-speed racetracks, because we saw Kyle Hess be the best high-speed at Michigan. Can he be the best again at Pocono?
You know, it's going to lead to some very, very interesting racing. Because, you know, for me, I love watching races at Pocono because it always leads in a very, very intense finish. And so I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, I'm going to keep my eyes open because we got a lot of fast drivers here in this racing league. And so it's just going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you can catch it on September 10th, 2 weeks from tonight, from Virtual Pocono, the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. That'll do it for our broadcast here on Racecraft TV. Once again, thank you to Istvan Ballo, TrackCams22.com, creating all the car cameras that you saw tonight. For my colleague Jordan Hicks in the booth, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for tuning in from Virtual Daytona, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time when we go racing from Virtual Pocono. But for now, we are saying good night from Daytona Beach.